So, I'm going to try and demonstrate the changes in 925 build of Blackbox. So, new game, put it on brutal, give it maximum extra planets. Goes. It'll take a little while for it to catch up. But, so this is running on auto time and no AI interaction with the player, so the game will just run as fast as it can for as long as it can. So initial tech starts are a little strange sometimes, but it's fairly random. So the different races will have different priorities of the kind of techs that they want to choose. In the beginning of the game, they have reduced shipbuilding demand for the technologies. So they should build less ships for the first 4 techs or so. So this is on brutal, and see the ability to research is pretty high for most of these guys. See, the year date here is 1039, and the AI already has cruisers available. These guys are researching battleships. Check out, they have cruisers. There's some frigates. Their tax rate here can now go to 100%. They can do more economically than they could before. They should have a very hard time going to negative money now. A lot of times that they'll run around with zero tax rate. These guys are already producing Titans at year 60 or so, or researching Titans. See that these guys are nearing 100 points of tech, past 100 points of tech. 216, 200 ships, fairly low tax rate, 31 planets already. The game really won't last very long this way because the max planets will top the RAM out pretty soon, but I have a plan to fix that. There's a battleship. Just a quick video to show the improvement in the technology research that has gone on to build 925. Not everybody gets the complete bump that they had, but their value here are getting kind of shafted. Probably because they're got stuck in early combat. Yeah, but you can see they're doing defensive stuff. Made some changes to the way, made a lot of changes to the way the economy works. There we go, there's a Titan. It is well before for the first 100 years. So as a player, if you can get Titans by year 1080, then you're on par with a brutal AI. Of course, the brutal AI cheats, right? It gets a bonus to its production ability. But I think this will give people a little bit more challenge than they had before, even without max extra planets. If I can get my memory reduction thing to work, which I don't see why I won't be able to, it's just a matter of trying to implement it all, then the game should be able to run considerably better. Should prevent it from running out of RAM. Yeah, so you're doing pretty good. The AI is much more inclined to buy and use spies than 12. So you see the spy count here on these guys is 14, spy defenders 11. That means that they have 3 to 4 spies out on missions all the time. Yeah. Ship counts here, 300. This ship count includes everything, so I mean there could be 60, 70 freighters and a bunch of troop ships, so it's not a complete combat ship count, but a fairly good indicator of how many ships they have. So you get a lot of freighters and stuff, a lot of troop ships that are around in there. Yeah, these subspace projectors still don't work real well. As you can see, these guys do some really weird things when they get to their destinations and look at trying to fix that. I had a fix for it in Demix mod. Didn't bring it over here because of a bunch of issues. Yeah, well, anyway, that's that. That's that is the new, the fairly improved economy, and 925. Governors are changed up a bit so that they'll try to be more geared towards their role and try to be a little smarter about the kinds of things that they build. So here it's building a vertical farm instead of an aeroponics first, which is not what it should be doing. It should be building an aeroponics first. That's not working quite right, but this will work. It's just expensive, and it doesn't have a lot of cash, so it'll affect it. Affect the overall economy. Yeah, they got pretty good troop dispersal. It's sending the troops around based on the value of the planet or the system that the planet is in. So not every planet is going to be loaded with troops, but the value of the planet is determined by a bunch of factors like developed it is, sort of thing, and how near it is to enemies. So defend itself, and those defensive platforms work the same way. You should find like systems here. If these are fairly important and can do it, should find defensive platforms being built someplace around here. These planets may not be developed enough to do it. They're pretty weak. This one has a bunch of stuff. Wow. Star base. Spider base. Spider base. Spider base. Defensive platforms. The platforms in the starbase. Wow, big repulsor. Well, that's interesting. This is a little defensive unit I made a long time ago. See if it can't remember the key sequence to make it work. Yeah, so I think that these are all these ancient repulsors on here. So that's really interesting. I'm not sure where they got the technology to do that, and I can't research it directly. They must have. Either that it's a bug. But those ancient, they've got a couple of those. Bunch of them. Those are pretty nasty. I mean, it's got 3 repulsors on it, and they can fire pretty fast, so it makes it very difficult to get near the planet. How they would get repulsors though? I have a bunch of them. Very strange. Well, I have to look into that and make sure that that's not messed up, because that will make it very difficult to attack their planets. Look at this, I mean, it's got like 5 star bases hanging around it with all the defensive stuff and the defensive ships. That's a tough nut to crack. And a lot of them. And that is 135 turns. 135 years or whatever it is into the galaxy. 32 planets, which is pretty high, although this is max planets on it, so about 6 times normal. Not all those planets are good, so, and it's completely random. But interesting. So I'm interested to see what people think playing against the AI like this, and hopefully I'll get this memory reduction plan in place, and that will make this game actually completely playable into much more playable into later years on these max settings. Like I said, this is on brutal with the maximum extra planets, which is generally the game will start to fall apart about 2,000 ships, which in this case is probably likely it's going to get there. I mean, maybe not, but probably it's going to fall apart here pretty soon. But on regular setting, it won't get 2,000 ships, so if you're playing on brutal without max planets, or playing on normal, then game should stay around for a time. I've had normal games run for 1,000 years or more, because the AI still is not very good at killing each other. that's on the list, but that's a huge can of worms. Trying to get the AI to be more effective in their strategic planning. Getting the AI to be effective in its tech and shipbuilding was hard enough. It's something I definitely want to do, but if we're going to get there anytime soon. So maybe I just added in F Bard. I can't never pronounce his name. Anyway, he should be in here. There it is. Toggle on zoom tracking. There's the keyboard fire arc locking. A couple people have asked about that in the forums. So in the shipyard, made a change a while back to, I don't know if I can do it here, because none of these Raider can do it. So, Black Cannon. So the arc on these guys used to be extremely touchy, that you would just click it someplace and it would change your arc randomly. It was pretty annoying. So found that there was actually a delay, supposed to be a delay in here, and it was there. It was just really fast. So it was pretty easy to click and meet the requirements for the delay, and it would change your arc. So change that to increase the delay to like a quarter second or half second, and now it will change the arc. You have to press and hold, and then you can change the arc. And the first time I changed it, you had to press and hold and move the mouse into the arc in order to change it, and that didn't work real well. People couldn't relate it to what it was before, because previously you just kind of barely touched it and it would start changing the arc. So I changed that again, so you don't need to be in the arc. You can just press and hold and it'll. But there's also an option. Doc put in for keyboard fire arc locking, which I believe is the Alt key. The doc has done some pretty interesting things, although we don't like this change very much. I want to be able to change my arc with the mouse. You changed that, so it's the Alt key. You hold down the Alt key and click, and then you can just change it immediately. It really needs some snapping to go on with it as well. I should have put that in there, but I didn't do it. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to be fixed, or not fixed. Some of it needs to be fixed, and some of it needs to be changed. These behavior presets need to be moved up someplace so that you can get to them on smaller resolutions. And there's a whole lot more ship information that I want to put in here as well, like the DevX. I had the ship strength stuff, so when you're building a ship it would calculate your ship strength over here, that it would be in game, and that didn't make it over from DevX mod. I'll try and add it in there eventually, but so much has changed in this stuff that the dock and the shooters just added just tons and tons and tons of stuff in here, and not all of it you can see, right, or is very obvious, but a lot of this graphical stuff over here is completely different. Some information stuff in here that's been added. These things, extra information over here has been added. Yeah, and then there's all these presets that the doc put in over here. Different kinds of effects that these things will have. The civilian is supposed to allow you to make any ship can be a freighter, I believe. Bard added some functionality to this, and so you can sled it to combat. You can make your freighters be combat without them being sucked up by the freighter AI. And carrier only, which I think works. It's primarily for fighter ships and such, so that they won't be built normally. They'll only exist on carriers. A lot of stuff. So we added the toggle zoom tracking, which I think makes it so that select a ship and it'll zoom right to it, and if I don't want it to zoom right to it, then I have to press shift. Yeah, hold shift to zoom normal. Don't hold shift to zoom, and if you flip that toggle, it's opposite, so that you zoom wherever you want to zoom, then click a ship and shift to zoom to it. But this, I do like this feature. It just has some quirkiness to it, which is kind of makes it kind of difficult, because it can do that really fast zoom when you don't expect it, which can be strange and kind of weird to disconnect from it. But it is nice if you're off someplace looking at stuff, and then you want to go back to your ship, and you just go doink, and you're there. There's also the previous target tracking stuff, which still works pretty good. So I've used this before, and I think I had this in another video, so I guess I won't go into a great amount of detail with it. But I mean, you can go over here, you select whatever it is over there. So yeah, it jumps around a lot, like that. But anyways, I can select the ship here, take a look what's going on here, and then say, oh yes, this is what I want. Click the back mouse button to select my ship again, and tell it to attack or move over here, because our base isn't going to do anything. But that's kind of nice. I mean, it definitely makes the UI a little easier to use. Combination of these things with the zoom tracking and the previous target stuff. So like you can zip across the universe pretty quickly that way. Okay. Select guy, then select guy. I can switch my target back, and then use the zoom tracking, and it'll take me right back here and back and forth. Zip across the universe this way, which is kind of nice. But you can quickly get yourself into a weird situation with the zoom tracking. Otherwise, I like the zoom tracking a little bit. Nope, still going. That was gonna crash, but it was something else. So, yeah, man, this brutal AI stuff, these star bases, that's rough, man. Heavily defended. Picking is interesting because you get a lot of ships of the same designs. Which is actually kind of cool in some respects. So, because it allows, what I want to do is have it build a list of ships and save that list of ship names or whatever, or text that the ship used, save that list, and then next time a game is started, it will load up just those ships into the game and not load all the other ships that it would normally load, which would save a lot of RAM. And I think that's cool. So FTBart also changed the ship picker to be a lot clearer how to use it, but one of the things he changed was how to use troop ships and carriers, so the AI will be much more likely to choose those things. Death ship it. One of these guys. Can't tell what it is. Anyway. Looking at here's the kind of ships that these guys are running with. See if they have any troop ships, but I don't see them. They are using antimatter. Pretty high-tech stuff there, which is cool. Yeah. Yeah, the whole ship tech picking stuff, the AI should be much, much better at, should pick better ships faster. So that really should be interesting to see how it plays out. Now, to make the AI smarter and fix a myriad of bugs that people have reported. I mean, for the most part the game is running pretty good, but there are still bugs. I mean, I don't know how game designers do it, man. Because they just have to overlook some of these things eventually. Just say, well, I'm not gonna fix that. Maybe more do it than others, but nevertheless, I mean, it's never gonna be perfect, you know. It feels like it should be. Alright, so we'll stop this video. Bye.